Salute discipoli. We are talking about Roman numerals to start and then Roman dates to end. So, lots to talk about. This first slide shows you all the places that we still use Roman numerals. We have a lot of clocks and watches, of course, on money. Hello, that's a really long Roman numeral. They use it in music, in inscriptions. We use it to be fancy on a lot of things. So they want to be fancy on this intro to a movie, or I guess the credits or something like that. So they still appear all over the place, but we don't use them as our numbers today because they are just awful. Do you see this? This is very complicated, but it's really not that crazy of a number. So our new system is much more efficient and easy to understand, but we still use Roman numerals to be fancy. Now, there are rules. As long as you follow these rules, I probably won't mark your Roman numerals wrong. Smaller numerals follow larger numerals, okay? So you have numbers or letters that represent numbers. And these letters should be ranked smaller numbers following the larger ones. So M is 1,000 here. So it comes first. C is 100, so it's next. L is 50, so it comes next. X is 10, and then I is 1. So you can see that one follows the rules. So you have 1,000, 150, 10, 1, all adding up to 1,161, which is a lot easier to say than MCLXI. The second rule, I, X, C, and M can be repeated up to 3 times in a row, but other numerals cannot be repeated. So you can't say 150 by saying LLL. You would need to say CL because there's another number you could use that's bigger than that one, so you wouldn't have to repeat it 3 times. Okay, so 3 M's, 3 C's, 3 X's, 3 I's get you to 3,333. And of course, this is all adding. Once we have the amount for all the M's, we take that number. Then we add all the C's to that number, all the X's and all the I's. Now, rule 3, in certain cases, a smaller numeral may come before a larger one. Subtract the smaller numeral from the larger one. So placement tells you what to do. If the smaller numeral comes before a larger one, that means you're subtracting it. If it comes after a larger one, you're adding it. Okay, so this is a slight violation to rule number 1, but what rule number 1 is saying is that even though there may be some numerals that come before a larger one, you should still be ranking them by the base number. Okay, so by base number, I mean the biggest one, M here, is 1,000. Since C comes before it, we need to subtract from 100 from the base number of 1,000. Okay? So this base number should come before the next set of them. Let's say we wanted to say 903. You would say CM, I. So I has to come after the M, that base number, because it's bigger, a lot bigger than I's. Subtracting. Only I, X, and C will be subtracted. You won't be subtracting anything else. Okay? So, let's see. You have to remember this rule because LD does not work for 450. D is 500. L is 50. So that one rule we just had, subtract a smaller number if it comes before a larger one. That seems like it might be right, except this new special note. You will never subtract V, L, or D because there's another way to say it. We have the base number of D right here. We want to subtract 100 to get to 400 and then add 50 back onto it. This is another reason that we don't use Roman numerals anymore. Okay, so we have to try to go one section at a time when you have a larger number. So 672. First, we have to say 600. So the closest Roman numeral to that is 500. We use D plus 100, C. And then we need to do 70. the closest Roman numeral to that is 50. So we need to start with L and add 2 X's to get to 20. Okay? And then we need the 2. That one's the easiest one. We add 2 I's and then we have it. You need to put it all together now. And that first rule we had, the bigger Roman numerals need to come first. So we need to put our section for 600 first, and then our section for 70, and then our section for 2. So it will lay in order in the Roman numeral. 1,492. We have to do this one in pieces as well. 1,492. 1,000 is just an M. That one's taken care of for us. 400, the closest Roman numeral is 500, which is D. We need to subtract 100 before it, so we place the C, which is 100, right before it, so we know to subtract it and get 400. 90, the closest Roman numeral is 100, which is C, and we know we need to subtract 10. We place the X in front of it to tell us to subtract it. And then 2, II, put it all together in order, M, C, D, X, C, I, which is what we have up here. Now, this is much of the same thing. You can try these on your own. 544, 2,849. You can go ahead and try those on your own if you have time. Try to go one section at a time. We already worked on this a little bit. Ooh, there's a big one. 1,238. 4,444 is quite a challenge. If you follow the rules, there are multiple ways to come up with it. So we don't need to do this right now because we need to get to dates. But that is there for you if you would like to. If you get 4,444, there are 2 proper ways to do it. So if you get one of them, I will give you bonus. Have fun. All right, Roman numerals versus Roman dates. The thing about these are they use the same concepts. Okay, so we have a base thing, a base number or a base date, and we are subtracting from it to get the correct amount. All right, so reference points in Roman numerals. We only have this many letters, which represent numbers in Roman numerals. We have to make different combinations of these 7 letters to get all the numbers ever. Okay? I, V, X, L, C, D, M. Those are our reference points. In dates, we only have 3 reference points per month. So the first of the month is the calends. The 7th or the 5th of the month, depending on your month, is the nones. 13th or the 15th of the month, depending on which month it is, are the ides. And hopefully you have heard that before. This is where it's coming from. That reference point in the month is called the ides. All right, so for Roman numerals, add or subtract from the reference points to get a specific number in between. That's what we do for Roman numerals. For Roman dates, it's a little different. Subtract from the reference points in the month to arrive at the specific date in between. Notice there is no adding in Roman dates. That is a big difference. Only subtract, never add. Let's see, we didn't talk about this, but Roman numerals, if you want to multiply something by 1,000, you can put a horizontal line over it to do that. But Roman dates don't have anything like that. However, they do have a couple different things other than the Roman dates, or the Roman reference point dates, and subtracting. You can say the day before the calends by saying "Pridie" in front of the date. Pridie calendus. And then you can also say AD and then whichever reference point day you want, which means so many days before. So notice there's no number there. We have to include a Roman numeral and then AD in front of it. But those specifics will come later. All right. We have special days, which we've already talked about a little bit. The calendae in Latin, it has to be plural. So the AE, it's first declension. And we call it the calends in English. The noni, it is plural as well. And in English, we call them the nones. The idus, this is fourth declension, but don't worry about that. It is we call it the ides, however. So notice they're a little bit different in their endings. English changes everything, you know. Take note because we have to deal with language and numbers when we talk about dates. These special days are nouns, and you will get another, in the next couple of slides, you'll get the adjective that goes with those nouns. So just like in English, they only have plural forms. We say the ides with an S. We say nones with an S. Calends with an S. Those are plural endings in English. Latin has the plural as well. You only use two forms of each for the dates. So you will only ever see these two forms, the calendae in the nominative, calendas in the accusative, noni in nominative, nonas in accusative, idos in nominative, idos accusative. Whoa, same form, only one form for idos. That's kind of nice. Aha, here we go. Months in Latin, we have finally the adjective that goes with the noun, which is the actual day, the calends, the nones, the ides. So these adjectives, your months, will be matching your day, calends, nones, or ides, in number, case, and gender, like we're kind of learning right now anyway with the adjectives. Okay, so writing the date on the special day is kind of easy. We just have to make sure the nominative plural form of the day in the nominative, notice I, us, and the nominative plural form of the month to match it. I, and there are no fourth declension adjectives, so it has to be an ES. You have a list of these months in your packet. Okay, so I would like you to try writing for this direction at the end of the video. It should be at the end of your log. It says carry out the direction that I give you. I would like you to try and write May 1st. And take note, there is a list of months in your culture packet. So here are some reminders to write the date May 1st. I want you to have the word for the first of the month in nominative plural. You need to have the word for May also in the nominative plural feminine to match your nominative plural word for the first of the month. And that's all you need to do. They will look something like these up here, just with you have to choose which day you want for the first of the month, and then you have to put the right month word in. Pay attention to your endings. They need to match in number, case, and gender. Straw out.